So I'm just going to answer a question that I got this morning from one of the ladies on our online group. She basically put it to me that she's been running for quite some time, but feels like she's kind of stuck in a rut, and she finds running generally challenging and wanted to know what to do to kind of strengthen her running and sort of bring it on a bit more. So in response to this, I thought I'd do a little video because it's quite a common situation and many people find themselves in exactly the same situation. So I'm going to sort of put forward a sort of four-stage approach to this. The first one is to look at your technique. Now, I know this is a little bit boring and you kind of just want to get on and get out there and get working to improve your running and your fitness and so on. But one of the biggest things that holds people back when they get caught in this sort of rut is, or can be, a little bit of technique, and number two is stiffness and tension around the hips and the thighs. So those two things, even though they're a little bit boring and you may not want to go down that route, I really strongly advise having a look at that situation first before we move on and look at your sort of running program. So get someone to look at your technique, even if it's just a family member or someone who's a little bit clued up, and see if there's anything obvious that you're doing that needs correcting. If not, get a professional to have a look and see if there's anything that needs addressing. And then have a little look at the mobilization around your hips and see if that's having anything to do with the efficiency of your running. Basically, if you've got a little tension around your hip areas, thighs, lower back, then it's gonna affect the efficiency of your stride. So you're going to be putting a lot of energy into something and not getting a lot out of it because the tension is taking away that energy. You look at a good runner and they're nice and fluent and their stroke is nice and long and it looks almost effortless, and that's because they're very efficient at what they're doing. So these areas are things that really worth addressing, because the ultimate goal is to be able to run better, run faster, run stronger. And so you need to look at all the things that are going to affect that and make any corrections or adaptations to progress that onwards. So once you've looked at those two things, the third step is about your program. Now, most people get caught in the rut of doing the same thing over and over. So typical example is you've probably got 2 or 3 run routes you do, and you normally run for the same amount of time. You go out, you run round, same sort of pace, come back and you finish the run. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely fine. But it will only get you to a set level and then you'll stay there. Because you're not going to be challenging your body in a new way anymore. It will get used to that, it will adapt to that, and it will therefore, just feel settled that it can do what you're asking it to do. So what you need to do is you need to throw some more challenges at your body to make it respond again. A bit like when you're going to start running in the first place. Now, if you can't run, you're going to say, right, run a mile. Now that's going to seem like a challenge. It's going to be hard. So your body's going to be is going to feel like it's working hard, and therefore it's get challenged and it will adapt and it will get fitter and stronger, and therefore eventually you can run the mile. So what you need to do is apply the same principle again, but you can already run. So you need to challenge it in the way or in the direction that you want it to go. So let's say, for example, you want to be able to run a bit quicker. So then you need to actually run quicker and challenge your body, even though maybe, say, for example, you want to run 3 miles or let's say a 5K and you want to do it quicker than what you're currently doing it. Well, you've got to therefore challenge the body and tell it that's what you want to do. It's not going to read your mind. You have to actually physically try and do it. So I don't mean go out and try and run 5K as fast as you can. Break it down into smaller segments. So for example, a good way of doing that is to create intervals within your run. When you're doing these types of sessions where you're going to increase the intensity, increase the effort, it's okay to create a shorter session. So reduce the amount of time, but put more energy into that time. So let's say, for example, you go out for a 20-minute run, then use the first 5 minutes to warm up. The warm-up doesn't have to be just go off and jog at your normal pace, which a lot of people get confused. They just set off at their normal pace. Well, then if you're coming to do a higher intensity effort, you're going to struggle because you're already a little bit challenging your body because you're running at your your set pace already. So set off at a reduced pace and then include either 1 minute efforts, or if you're running outside, maybe use a loop of a certain area, so you can do 1 minute fast, 1 minute slow, 1 minute fast, 1 minute slow. And the slow is, try and keep it a jog, but it can be a slower jog. It doesn't have to be, again, your normal pace. It can be reduced. The whole idea being that we're going to focus on those faster efforts and get your body more used to them. So 5 minutes warm up, then you could do 1 minute fast, 1 minute slow for 10 minutes. So that's 5 bursts, followed by a 5 minute jog at the end. Again, if you can do it at your normal pace, then that's fine. If it's got to be a reduced pace, then that's fine as well. You got yourself there, 20-minute run. The value of that is going to be a lot more than it would be if you just plodded round at your normal pace for 20 minutes, because you're going to be challenging your body in the direction that you want it to go, which is to be able to run faster. So that's one way in which you can integrate some efforts into your runs to make them, to progress them and make them faster. Another way of challenging is obviously adding a gradient. So if you're someone who runs on the flat all the time, then go find some hills, run up those hills. Absolutely brilliant way of increasing the strength in your legs. Also, obviously, heart and lungs are going to be working harder, so it's going to increase your cardiovascular system as well. So another way to easily implement some extra challenge on your body. Now, this is obviously a very simplistic plan, but the principles are going to apply to everyone in all directions. And once you've begun challenging your body more, the number 4 on the list is going to be to make sure you progress. So say, for example, you implement that 20-minute run that I just described. Well, don't carry on doing that for the next 6 months. Progression. So now, can you make it 15 minutes worth of intervals, or can you increase your speed? One advantage is to, let's say, work on a treadmill every now and again, because it really can monitor how you're doing. So you can monitor your speed, and obviously you've got the timer on there to monitor your intervals. So it's a brilliant tool to use for intervals. Not saying you have to go and get a treadmill or have use of it, but if you're a member of a gym or you've got a treadmill at home, then it's a brilliant tool to be able to do your intervals on, because it really helps you monitor things. So there you go. That's the 4 stages. Is going to be your technique. It's going to be to mobilize and stretch the hips. Number 3 is to create a bigger challenge in the direction that you want to go. So like I say, if you want to run faster, you've got to encourage your body to run faster by doing some of that. If you want to be better at running up hills, you've got to be able to go and do more hills and get it better at that. And then number 4 on the list is going to be the progression. So don't just make up a couple of new runs and then get caught in that rut again for the next 6 months or a year. Adapt it as you go. You need to review it and make the changes as you go. Okay, so I hope that's kind of answered the question and given you a better idea. Obviously, it's quite a broad subject, and to cover it all in this little chat is very difficult, but it gives you the principles on what you need to be thinking about, which is much better than just giving you 3 different programs here, follow them. Well, you need to understand why you're doing it, which is going to give you more value than just giving you 3 different programs or 4 different programs to follow. So in time, I'll follow this up with some more ideas that can help you progress as well. But I hope for now that's given you a better idea and it's been helpful for you.